you can save. My wife and I are members. We love the service we get from Palmetto Citizens. We think you will too. Check them out online right now at palmettocitizens.org. Go.
No, you just gotta put me up on that computer. That's it.
Minutes after 3 o'clock on this Friday afternoon. Welcome back in. It's the Postgame Show. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell with you. We are broadcasting live from Columbia Craft in the South Vista, as Langston and I named it last year, and Elijah has reminded us it's the Sista. That's right. We're at Green and Pulaski and UG. Come say hey. Very easy to find us. They got the rooftop bar, the outside bar, the inside, but we're inside today. It is a little balmy in Columbia, South Carolina.
That's a nice way of putting it. I was thinking hellishly hot.
No, it's not that bad. It's been worse.
It's bad for me.
It's only 93.
What's the feels like temperature?
137.
Yes, exactly.
Uh-oh, did we just lose Langston? I'll let Terry tell me in my ear if we just lost Langston. I heard the phone. All right, we'll get
the radio fairy is not kind to us.
Langston in just a second here. Yeah, it feels like 137. That's my go-to number.
137.
Yeah, it just it's easier.
Hot enough for that to be the reason that they did not play the World Cup in Qatar in the summer.
That's right,
because it was uninhabitable.
The reason I use 137, by the way, is because that comes from one of my favorite films of all time, Coming to America. 137 years old. 137 years old. Langston Moore is with us. Happy football season, sir. We always appreciate your time, as you well know. As an NFLer, an SECer yourself, is this weekend a weekend maybe you have like your old athletic socks and hang them up like a stocking? You maybe take a helmet and turn it into like a bowl for snacks and nuts and fruits. How does that work?
Those things we should put them to good use because they barely got put to use as a football guy. So let's repurpose them like that I see all the time on the DIY channels. But no, it's just making sure my connection's right, my Wi-Fi's right. I got the snacks in reach, and pretty much that people can leave me alone, that, you don't disturb me, because I need to make sure I'm paying attention to North Carolina State, Western Carolina, because it's important. It's important I know what's going on in the third quarter of this game.
Yeah, NC State, man, they got away with one, and so did North Carolina last night too. Let's talk about these Gamecocks, and so much of what we've discussed is about a lot of newcomers. There are newcomers there, but there's one spot where this club feels most veteran, and that's up front on the defensive line. But with the newcomers and the returning players, we've heard a lot of mention of things like, using a hockey line, Langston, and finding ways to rotate those guys in and out. That Clayton said the other day, it's more important who finishes than who starts. When you look at the depth right now, what do you envision in terms of rotation? What's comfortable for these guys in terms of how they're playing, when they're playing, et cetera?
I do envision a hockey line being like that, because just running down the names of Tonka Hemingway, Boogie Hunley, Nick Barnett, Barrett, TJ Sanders, who else? Dylan Stewart, Kyle Kennard, Desmond, the Desmond kid.
Umi Azulu.
Who else am I thinking about? Gilbert Edmonds, who came from Florida State. Lucky him. He came from before everything went crazy down in Florida State. It just sounds like a lot of experienced guys and a lot of older guys. Again, knowing who's been leading them, they've been in the room for about a good half a year, so that also makes up well, because there's a lot of transfer, a lot of people, playing the transfer portal game. But collectively, all together, it does feel like this is the strength of the team. There's a good group of guys who have been kind of holdovers. There's a bunch of guys that we added, not just because we added names and we needed numbers to like a 53-man roster, but we added some really quality guys. I'm really excited to see what Kyle Kennard can kind of do. He reminds me of a guy I used to play with who used to spend a lot of time with a Chip Morton, a guy who's on the staff now, Michael Scott, who was down from a Georgia Tech kid as well, who played with me in Cincinnati. So it feels like collectively this group can be very strong, but still within that, we still need some guys who are stars. So the Tonka Hemingways of the world still got to kind of dominate. The Boogie Hunleys, hopefully he's playing like how he's been playing on NCAA for me. Every time I leave him right there to man the inside middle, he's killing everybody. And everybody I'm playing is like, who is this Boogie Hunley kid? I was like, man, hopefully he's doing that to everybody this year. But it does feel like this needs to be the strength of the team. But it also feels like we've been kind of beating this drum for the last couple of years and haven't been seeing some of the results. We've seen it here and there. But as far as statistically and getting off the field, we've been dead last. We've been dead last in a lot of things, and generating sacks and pressures. And a lot of times it doesn't even have to be sacks. It can be affecting the quarterback having that, and we've been having a lot of issues doing that. Hopefully those things have been flushed, and this group collectively sounds like it's very, very, very focused to try to go out there and put their imprint, put their stamp on this team this year. But like you said, and kind of similar to like Clayton White said, it's kind of going to be like an all-star team, hopefully, where there's so many guys, fresh, chomping at the bit to get out there. It's really who's going to be the hot 4 guys, the hot 3 guys out there when it comes time to try to get off the field, as opposed to just being like, oh, these 4 don't work. Let's roll the next 4. Okay, let me mix these 4 together. Hopefully it won't be like that, because these guys do have a whole wealth of strength, whole wealth of experience, and a whole wealth of, wanting to get it done up front, because they have been hearing a lot of this for the last couple of years about what they haven't done.
And in theory, it does sound like a hockey rotation or like a line shift in a way. It would be really beneficial, again, in theory. But now, as somebody who's played on the defensive line at every level imaginable in football, could that possibly interfere with like getting into a rhythm? I know a lot of players, some players do need a lot of snaps to get into a rhythm to where by the fourth quarter they are in top shape. But in terms of the health of a unit itself, does maybe going into a game where you're only going to play me every other possession kind of mess with rhythm by any means?
It really depends on the collective group of some of these guys. And like I said, the best teams I've ever been on, we've really been kind of too deep and almost at the part where it's like, man, the two guys could be the starters on a different team. I'm thinking about the earlier Carolina days, some of the earlier parts of the first half of the NFL teams I was on. We had some really good rotations, but guys got hurt and different things. So as long as everybody's understanding and on the same page, because I will forever, forever and a day, maybe it was Sean Rogers was just really smart when I played with him in the Detroit Lions. Like, he was the guy. He was the one that was paid. He was the one that was, the star. He had the black visor on, everything. And definitely he was the size guy in our room. But there'll be plenty of times, and I'll look over at Sean, and Sean will be like, man, I don't got it today. It's you. It's your turn. Hopefully you doing something. And when he would get excited like an all-star team, he'd be like, man, I saw Langston make a play. I saw Kalimba make a play. I saw some of these other guys make a play. Now I'm kind of ready to get going. And the guy, no knock on Sean, he'll tell you this. He's like, I wasn't really a fast starter, but once I got going, you couldn't get me off the field. So that's kind of like I had to learn, all right, maybe Sean is, I look over there in his locker, he got that pouty face on. Okay, I got to go first. I got to get out there first, not necessarily start. It's going to be, he's going to go out there and get his name called, and he's going to run off the field, and I'm going to run on the field. But then from there, he's going to collectively try to get the juices going. And I think, not everybody can handle that room. But again, this is a group of guys who have kind of been around different programs, been around different places. They've been collectively together for all season, all the off season. So I think that kind of feels like the MO of like, whoever is the hottest hand, oh man, let me get some of that too. Even if it's not my day, let me let you eat a little bit there and there's a bunch of different ways. And that's that unselfish stuff you hear folks talk about on good teams. And again, just like I said, the best teams I've been on always kind of displayed some of those similar qualities.
We had a lot of guys asking Clayton and some of the players of late, how hard is it to get a sack? I'll ask you that same thing when you're in the interior of the line. I mean, there's pressure, there's disruption. What's that next step? Because that's really what these guys need to take.
Man, finishing and putting a dude on the ground is paramount, because there's a lot of close but no cigars. Like I told people, the hardest thing to do in the NFL is to be unblocked and have a clear shot on a quarterback, because that's just like having the wide open basket in basketball. It's like you start thinking, should I go between the legs? Should I just lay it up? Then it's just blah, 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 and you're getting eaten up by the rim. Next thing you know, somebody like Ben Roethlisberger is mushing your face and throwing the ball in the back of the end zone because you're trying to figure out all these different. A lot of times you just got to shoot your gun, shoot your shot, and that's where football is a bad neighborhood. It's like your brain. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to stay out of that bad neighborhood. You can't be thinking. You got to really just react and just shoot your gun, because once you start thinking about those things, because getting a sack is probably one of the hardest things. And I tell people all the time, I was the best unblocked player in the league. The unfortunate thing about that is I missed a whole bunch of sacks too. So putting somebody down, putting them in the bag, and having a group kind of, one guy shoot your gun, the next kind of guy. That's what I envision for a lot for the Dylan Stewarts of the world on our team this year.
Yeah.
He probably just has a whole bunch of just natural pass rush ability, but he's just going to be like a blind dog in the meat house, hitting everything, bumping everything. But that's chaos for the backfield. Somebody else can come and clean it up. So maybe the Boogie Hunleys of the world can sneak like 3 or 4 sacks off the missed shots that Dylan goes out there and just produces for us.
Langston Moore with us here on this Football Friday, talking Gamecocks and more. Get into a few of his thoughts on the other games going on around the SEC. We are so busy today. We are at Columbia Craft in the Vista. Come say hey. It's the postgame show. Well, we have made it to football season, kids, and that means you got to find the best way to watch the game. A lot of you will be at Williams-Brice tomorrow, but a lot of you won't. And then next weekend, even fewer of you will be in Lexington or wherever else you might want to watch a game. How do you do it better, you ask? Oh, I'm glad you did. You call Integrated Media. It's that simple, 803-948-8327. You say, Jay, home theater installation, it's so expensive. These guys, no, it's not. Trust me on this, okay? The equipment price is the same as you're going to get in any big box store, and you're going to have these guys do it right once. All right. I hate these horror stories. Oh, I know a guy. Yeah, you don't need to know a guy. You need to call Integrated Media. Seat at a buddy's house, seat at a sports bar. You can make it your own. 803-948-8327. One room, whole house, outdoors, Wi-Fi that works everywhere. Feel like you are there when you call Integrated Media. We are talking Gamecock football ahead of tomorrow's season opener against Old Dominion. Welcome back in. It's the postgame show. Jay, Elijah, we are broadcasting live from Columbia Craft. Jeff Haley is down here making sure we don't do it wrong. So far, he's successful, but we're only a half hour into the program.
A lot of time to mess things up.
All right, I tell you what, we have a surprise for you. You do have to come see us, okay? You have to come to Columbia Craft for this. This will be the first of many that we're going to be doing. Well, actually, we have one set of this. We have some football tickets later.
Yes.
All right. But the first person to come here and just like say, hey, I heard you were doing this on your radio show, will win a pair of tickets to tonight's Hootie and the Blowfish concert.
Ooh, I've heard of them.
But you have to come here. Don't call, don't text, don't email, don't Western Union. They still do that?
Not that I know of. Maybe.
Jeff?
I can't roll it out.
Telegraph in here?
Yeah, telegraphing in there. I can't roll it out because I haven't experienced going and
You come here. You come see. We're inside, next to the little mini fridge. No trivia.
Nope. Just come here and say, hey.
Just come say hey.
Heard y'all were giving away tickets.
And we will hook you up with a pair of tickets to tonight's show. And if you want to buy us a beer, you can. No, I'm kidding.
Fantastic.
I'm kidding because that means it's like a pay for thing, and I'm not doing that. It was a joke. It was a joke. Come see us. You got to come in here.
I don't turn down free beer, though.
Langston Moore is with us
deniability.
On the guest line as we continue talking Carolina football. Yeah. You're not, I guess, I don't know if this tour made it to Dallas or not, or I don't even know what the tour dates are. So they'll probably be at your way at some point. Yeah.
Again, man, I'm getting all my day. I'm getting DC mixed with South Carolina and Dallas and all these. I want to say I thought they came out here a couple weeks ago, but it could have honestly been DC. But for some reason, I thought there was a Darius show. But this dude is ubiquitous with everything I see. He's always on the Today Show. I don't know if I'm in.
He's everywhere.
Charleston, South Carolina, you know what I'm saying? Like I see Darius all the time. It always does make me feel like I'm at home. So, but point being is, I know that Hootie show is sold out everywhere. So lucky whoever shows up and listens and pays attention. See, that's why it pays to pay attention and listen, because you can end up being right there rubbing elbows with Hootie tonight. It's crazy.
But I don't want anybody to cause any accidents out there or anything. But good luck. We're pulling.
Yeah, don't
for
push
you.
the older
let's
people
switch
down.
over.
Don't do that.
That's right. Yeah, don't hurt anybody. Don't hurt anybody. Let's go to the offensive side, Langston. And last year, youth, inexperience, injury up front. This year looks like a lot more quality depth. You've got some veteran guys. You've even got some youngsters like Trevon Baugh and Tree Babalade that had to start last year that right now it seems will be backups. What does that tell you about how hard Shane and the offensive staff went after guys up front to make it better?
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously see it in our recruiting, going after the top linemen in the state, two of the top national guys as well. One of those guys being, penciled in to be the starter. Again, hopefully he can be that Dylan guy that I've always been screaming out since, the Melvin Page days back in the day, to have, man, if we could just get one guy who's there for the next 4 years or 3 years, if he doesn't go pro first, to put all the pressure on the kid. But he has a lot of those things there. And obviously with the tutelage of Lonnie Teasley and Sean Elliott, the de facto tight end coach, aggressive guy, him being back in the fold, I think our team is going to bode well for that. I think it's going to, benefit from that because, we lost a ton of guys, and this is just how the game happens. Sometimes it's, you come into the season with, man, we're as deep as we ever been at wide receiver. And then it's like, we're down to our second defensive back who played wide receiver. That's just the game sometimes. And so we had to struggle through that last year. We overcame and did the best that we could, but I think we'll benefit from that. Now, last year we had a guy in the snake, man. We had Spencer Rattler. We don't have him anymore to kind of save us. So, it's kind of the trade-off that we lose the gambler, the gunslinger, all of those things who saved us a lot. And, multiple times, even the years before that, now we get the trade-off of a whole healthy guys, a whole bunch of experience. But some of the guys, especially at the quarterback position, we know he has a high star rating. He looks really good at college football, but, we just don't know about all the intangibles when the bullets are flying. So, this is the trade-off. This is the optimism. Really excited about the depth that we have at offensive line and all the pieces. Luke Doty, all the other. We got some running back depth. Like I said, I keep going back to this college football game because I've been that's the only thing I've had, Jay. So, again, if Rocket Sanders is as lead as he is on college football, I think we're going to win a national championship. This is Langston Moore saying this on Friday afternoon. But the point is we got a lot of depth, quality depth at running back. We got some tight end depth. We got Simon coming back. We got one of the top 5 ranked tight ends coming in from the recruiting class. So a lot of really good things. Knocking on wood, these guys all kind of see the field at the same time. They don't go out there and try to make things bigger than they have to be. Lenoris doesn't have to go out there and be Spencer Rattler from Tennessee. We would love that, but we don't need that. We don't need you to go out there and do that. We just need you to go be you and have these big old healthy offensive linemen protect you and carry us all the way into the end zone repeatedly on Saturday.
In Langston, I don't think there's a true freshman in the country that's going to have the responsibility that Josiah Thompson's going to have as a starting left tackle in the SEC. True freshman, SEC, starting left tackle. Like that's a lot of pressure for anybody. But Josiah Thompson has incredible size, and by everything we've heard, has wowed people in camp. But what type of jump is it to be able to play, at the South Carolina high school level and then have to come up, regardless of how talented you are, to be able to play and start right away at this high of a level? Because I think that's one thing that, we're going to have to really watch for here in these first couple of weeks.
Yeah, especially against, like I said, the Kentuckys of the world. And I would have a de facto kind of like Dylan joke that Dylan would play, practice against grown men from the sawmills and from the fields. But I don't think that joke is any applicable. People don't even think about Dylan like that anymore. But the point is, it's a huge jump because, you got guys who have been in this league for like 5-6 years now. That is a thing where before you might see a senior guy who was redshirted or something, but now you're seeing a wealth of guys. And then on top of that, the defensive linemen haven't been taking off on getting these specialized coaches and doing all this crazy stuff in the off season away from their team. So there's all these defensive pass rush specialists and all these different guys. And so again, as an offensive lineman, there's a huge jump from all the intricacies, from alignment, from assignment, from somebody using their hands a certain way, from somebody physically. It goes, this is the thing. Josiah was the most dominant physical thing, and he had to gain a whole bunch of weight to be ready to have this position, and he did that. No knock on him. But, a few months ago, he was the biggest, baddest thing walking as soon as he came off the bus. And so he doesn't have the benefit of that anymore because there's other bigger, badder, different monsters. And I don't mean that in a pejorative. There's a squatty monster. There's a guy from Tennessee that I'm thinking about that wears the number 27 right now that, thank goodness, we don't have
James
to think about that at this moment. But absolutely. So I'm thinking about also the coaches that go along this. Because like I talked about Lenora Sellers having to go, not saying this is singles tennis, the U.S. Open or anything like this, but, our guy up there is licking his chops as these defensive coordinators do when they see a rookie quarterback, a guy with a few limited amount of starts. We're trying to throw it's going to be the same way for this offensive tackle. And that's the same way that we're going to have to make sure, and I'm sure our coaching staff is going to make sure they prepare them and try to make it as tough as possible in practice so they can go out there and try to feel some familiarity and get out there and get mixing around because there's nothing better as an offensive lineman or as a lineman, period, to just try to get out there, get some hitting going. And you don't want to go into a situation where you're feeling your way around. You want to go out there and kind of be finding your targets, seeking them out, hitting them, getting them out the way, or having them move out of your way. And the more you can kind of start getting to a rhythm like that, then the more it starts to feel like Dylan against Latta, week 3 in the high school football deal. And that's what we want Josiah feeling very comfortable with. I want him feeling like that.
Dylan versus Latta. Nice reference, sir. It's a good one. Let us congratulate Jacob. He has made it in here. We have already disappointed 2 others before I could tell you all that. But
you guys made it quick.
But
that's a quick response.
Again, those of you who are around, that's what we were doing here. But thank you for listening. We appreciate it. The Hootie tickets are done. But hey, don't fret. We have football tickets. So if you just be listening, we'll give you the FM radio cue to come by and see us. All these tickets will be given away here in person at Columbia Craft. But Jacob, congratulations. Have fun tonight. And to those who we made feel badly, I sorry.
Yeah,
I tried.
Sorry.
If y'all just want to try to sneak in the back door, just right up the street.
Yeah, we ain't gonna stop you.
Yeah, just see what happens. Terry Ford hated you. He'll go with you. Terry's good at distracting those people.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you sneak in.
Yeah, he's a great diversion.
Yeah, Terry grew up in that kind of neighborhood. So he says.
Allegedly.
So he says. More with Langston as we continue the first hour here on a big Football Friday. It's the postgame show. Homeowners looking to make some improvements around the house because you love where you live and you've been there a while. You built up some equity. It's time for you to take advantage of some great opportunities with Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union and their home equity line of credit. Could be a great option for you. You see, they're local. They're not for profit. That means that you'll pay lower closing costs, lower fees, lower application fees. You'll get lower rates. And when you unlock your home's equity with Palmetto Citizens, you can access that line of credit over a 10-year draw. Maybe you start with fixing up the kitchen. Then you get a playroom for the kids, or you spruce up your bathroom. Maybe you do that home theater of your dreams I talk about sometimes. Apply today. Visit palmettocitizens.org or stop in and talk with their great staff at any of their 14 convenient Midlands locations. They've been doing it since 1936, y'all. They know what's up. My wife and I are members. We love the service we get. We think you will too. Palmetto Citizens, achieve your potential. Settlement. How do you spell that?
Wait.
He said. Yeah, Jacob, our ticket winner, is now sitting here with us having a beer, celebrating. He'll be heading right up the block.
He's got plans tonight.
That's right.
If he didn't before then, he does now.
We will give you some chances to win Gamecock football tickets coming up in just a little bit. Welcome back in, Jay, Elijah. It's the post-game show live from Columbia Craft in the South Vista, the Sista,
if you will.
That's right. Well, Langston and I last year, I think, came up with South Vista, right?
Uh-huh.
And then you said the Sista.
Yeah, I just combined the two words for you.
Worked right in there. So, because again, Langston and I were talking like old dudes that went to Carolina, and like, man, where we're standing was like trees. And it wasn't even that long ago.
Doesn't look like that anymore.
Every time Langston joins us, by the way, we always appreciate his time. And I want to remind you to head over to athletesandartists.net. There you will find everything you need to know about the Just a Chicken series of books. That's Just a Chicken Little, Used to Was a Rooster. Great for the young Gamecock readers in your life or other readers that you would like to maybe turn into Gamecocks.
Certainly.
You know, I mean, there's
a recruiting tool.
There's that, you know, the little subtleties of life. Plus, you can figure out how to get Langston and Coach P, our own Preston Thorne, into a school or other civic group near you and talk about what's going on in the world. You got the Butt and Gut podcast, you got the Fight podcast, and a whole lot more. Athletesandartists.net. When will you be back? School started now, so you're back into Palmetto State for the tour pretty soon, yeah?
Yes, we did a whole bunch of kickoff events, a whole bunch of parents' nights. Luckily, I think the schools have gotten smart. Like, let's let them miss the first week like they used to do in school regularly, and then we'll catch them the next week. So we got some stuff coming up next week and the following week. So it's here. Book season is here. School season is here. What else we got going on? With Rotary clubs, all type of stuff, man. We have no shortage of things going on besides trying to get all this good football in.
And before I get back into football, let me just ask father to father, now that the daughter has settled into college life in our nation's capital, you are feeling how?
I'm some of that sadness, Jay. I don't know what was wrong with me last week, but now, she seems to be fine. She's got her early workouts going on in the morning. It's amazing how work. Like I said, just like I told you a couple weeks ago, all I need to do is just throw myself into my work again. I'm just like any red-blooded male American. Like I will bury myself in food. I will bury myself in work. I will bury myself in anything except the thing that I'm supposed to be focusing on. So I think with her, she's had a whole bunch of early morning workouts, and I don't hear from her as much anymore. Before, when she didn't have too much to do, she would call me all the time. Now this last week has been, oh, I'm tired. I'll text y'all tomorrow. I'm like, oh, man, I thought you needed me to fly out this weekend. So it just shows you, parents, they're fine. Leave them alone.
Yeah, that's right. Just get used to it, man. You get that occasional text, and you think you've done yourself a good job there. So there's that. We got some pretty good ones to this weekend. Georgia, Clemson, Miami, and Florida. That's at the Swamp. Notre Dame, A&M. That Miami game, man. I have said it's as close to must win as must win can be.
Anxiety bowl
for the Florida Gators. How do you look at that one?
100%. I'm waiting for the lineup that Billy Napier usually has. That's always seems like a guy who isn't stressed out. But when you're usually about to lose your job, you're not getting a haircut, you're not getting them hair treatments no more. So I want to see how sharp Billy Napier is and how dependent upon how great they do in this game, especially because I don't think they're going to win. I just think Miami just got all their stuff together. They're figuring out the ways to get the NIL. Crystal Ball is going to figure out how to put a knee on the ball and clock the ball and don't do everything to lose a game, to give Georgia Tech a whole bunch of enthusiasm a year later. It feels like Florida's on their way out and they're trying to figure out a way to find who the next coach is going to be. So it's going to be a very, very short leash for Billy Napier. He's got to get a dub. No casual wins.
And then for our game here tomorrow, Elijah has picked 27-13. I picked 34-16. The spread is 21. We both see Carolina not quite covering that one. Whether you care about the spread or not, what do you? I've said, Langston, cohesion and confidence. Build both of those things. That's what I'm looking for tomorrow. But how do you envision it?
Yeah, because we all have, as fans, dreams of grandeur of, 8 straight possessions, 8 straight touchdowns, no field goals, again, just go out there and play a clean game. At the end of the game, it'll take care of itself. The score will take care of itself. This offense that's coming out here, you don't want to play something like that because their whole MO is misalignment, misassignment. They do have some talent out there. They got like 50-some brand new players. Everybody's trying to figure out where they can kind of fit in and get in. So you can't look at those transfers anymore. But with their scheme, what they're trying to do, especially starting the year off, they're just going to try to overwhelm you with timing. They're trying to overwhelm you with getting out of sorts. And before you know it, they've gotten behind you or they just continue to gas you. We don't want to see any of that, especially on the defensive side of the ball, especially with all the things that I've been talking about the last couple, it seems like for the last half year about stopping the run, getting off the field, getting sacks, getting turnovers. The more we do those things, the more it gives our offense an opportunity to get possessions, gives that running back another opportunity to get some runs. Because, again, the more we can build up their confidence on that side of the ball and get our defense some confidence on the quick outs, on the quick 3-and-outs, the more it's going to pay dividends for us.
Good stuff as always, sir. Best to the missus. Happy football season. We appreciate you as always. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah, man. Can't wait.
That's our good friend Langston Moore. Athletesandartists.net. Remove the chains to follow on Twitter. So much more to do as hours 2 and 3 coming at you live from Columbia Craft in the Vista. It's the postgame show.
Quick word, my friends, here at Columbia Secret for Weight Loss. Look, August is almost running out, which means their deal of a buy one, get one weight loss journey was going to come to an end, but not anymore, my friends. That has been extended to September 30th to celebrate 1 year being here in the Midlands and helping so many people like myself reach their weight loss goals. Columbia Secret for Weight Loss is going to help you do it with a close friend or family member. And they're going to do all of that with their great, fantastic program with Paul, Grant, and Shaylin, coaching and being able to help you get the diet you need without any pills, without any shots. And if that sounds good and you want to lose weight with a friend or family member, give them a call. 803-824-4210. 803-824-4210. Results may vary.
All right, it's 4 o'clock on this Friday afternoon. Welcome back in. Second hour of the post-game show coming at you from Columbia Craft in the Vista, the South Vista, the Sista,
if you will.
Jay Phillips and Elijah Campbell down here. Haley is here making sure we're doing it right. So is Jeannie. Jeff Haley's giving up on us.
Yeah,
There's two Haleys here. Haley, our promotions staffer, and then Jeff Haley, our great salesman.
Hey, I'd be checked out too if I were a Cardinals fan.
The Cardinals are still in the playoff race, aren't they?
No.
Jeff just gave me that.
They're in the pit with us, baby. The Cincinnati Reds, we're in the same
back.
spot. They're in the mud with us.
Well,
We are wrestling in that nasty filth that is the bottom of the National League Central.
Braves felt like they jumped in the mud last night, but I know y'all don't like it when I talk like that. So
Oh my God, my team jumped in the mud. We're still like 10 games over 500 in a firm playoff spot. Oh
Yeah.
no.
that's how I feel. That's exactly. Again, I got mad at sports last night when the Braves blew a 4-run lead
But
on the
he'll be
road.
back. He'll be back, ladies and gentlemen.
I will.
He always comes back.
I can get mad at sports, but I'm not breaking up with sports.
It's like, whenever I was a kid, I get mad at my parents or something. I'm like, I'm running away. Okay. And because they know I get down to the driveway and I said, nope, coming back.
Yeah,
I didn't think this plan too far ahead in advance.
yeah.
We didn't get that far in the planning stages.
Well,
of my
I'll
departure from
I'll
home.
see what I can do. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this now. We have this is for a very special 3-pack of Carolina football tickets. So typically we give away a pair.
It feels like we're making history.
And a little bit later on, we will be doing a pair. But for now, the first person to come in that needs tickets, all right. Oh, we have Terry says we have something special. So go ahead, Mr. Ford, and do that for me, and then I'll talk more.
Run to your phone and start dialing 803-404-6100. It's time to give away some Gamecocks football tickets.
Touchdown, Carolina.
Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse, your local Honda motorcycle, ATV, and side-by-side superstore. Online at carolinahonda.com.
All right. Well, that means Terry wants to do more work than I was going to make Terry do, because now apparently you can call to win these. Because according to that thing, you can call. So I tell you what, for this
No,
special
ignore that
3-pack,
thing. Just do what you're doing.
I can't ignore it now.
Yes, you can. Say, just have them come in. Ignore it. We're changing the rules.
all right,
We're
so
breaking rules. It's crazy. It's a holiday weekend.
We that's right. We are indeed changing the rules. So do not call, because you got to come here. I love live radio on a Friday. You don't need to call. It was just, we thank our friends at Carolina Honda Powerhouse, Jim and the crew. You got to come here. The first person to come in here, all you got to do is say hey. No trivia, no anything else. Just come say hey.
Heard you on the radio.
And we will give you a 3-pack of tickets. We do have other tickets to give away later in the program, as we like to say in the South.
That's right. We're not a program. We're a
That's
program,
right, the program.
which is what you earn after you win.
But we will give you 3 tickets to tomorrow's game. Sold out, Williams-Brice Stadium. But I need to tell Jacob he can't win because he's already won something today.
He's already won.
Sorry,
He's already
Jacob.
racking up.
Sorry, Jacob. Sorry.
I saw his eyes get big, and I was like, oh.
If you change your name and put on one of those Bobby Valentine things, man, we'll see what we can
We
do.
are easily duped.
Yeah,
I was going to say, we're not the brightest. We can be duped.
But so come to we are at Columbia Craft in the Vista, and a 3-pack. So, typically you might just have one friend. Now you say, hey, call that other guy that you only kind of like a little bit.
Yeah, an acquaintance.
Yeah, be like, do you want to go too? Because I got a third.
That's how acquaintances become friends.
Look at that. Look at you, man. Look at you.
I'm a real socialite.
That's is that what it is?
I don't even know what the word means.
I don't either. It sounds nice.
It sounds like something someone would call Bruce Wayne.
So
other than Batman.
Come see us. Ignore the other thing, and just come see us, and we'll give you some tickets. It's that easy. That's it. All right.
Get you a beer while you're here too.
Yeah, get a beer. They got all kinds of beer here. I'm gonna have a past tense West Coast IPA in just a little bit.
I know. I saw that too. I did not get to taste test it for my top 16.
I think it's a brand new one, man.
Beers. Yeah.
So I'm all about West Coast IPAs.
And they did return a couple of classic beers too.
There's
so
a lot of new ones here. We were just here last week, man. Like dinner in Copenhagen. That wasn't here last week.
Oh, they're on a roll, man. This place is on a roll.
The Czech Lager Pull, was that here last week? I think a lot of these are brand new.
And if you're a frequent visitor here,
They're holding out on
have
us.
come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 classics have come back. So Modern Gothic's back on now on draft, and so is Van Dam.
Have you
So if
had
you're
the
into
Blood
Golden Strong
Orange
Ales.
Brute IPA?
No, that is news to me.
Wow, man. I just have to come. Tyler's going to camp out at Darlington. I might just camp out here.
I'll see if I can do the high school show from here tonight.
There
Sorry,
you-
Ed Bird.
This is already set up.
It's already set up.
Look at that.
I could.
Savvy.
I could.
Gamecocks and Old Dominion tomorrow. Again, Carolina remains a 21-point favorite in this one. We've made our picks at GamecockCentral.com. You can check out the staff picks and see what we said. 34-16 for me, 27-13 for you.
A lot of 13s in there. I went through during one of the breaks, and
There's going to be
I
some
looked
field
over
goals, I
else's.
think.
Yeah,
Gotta be
there's
some
a lot of Old Dominion finishing with 13.
Yeah.
In there, I think that's the general
I
consensus.
actually
of Carolina
initially
media.
had 13, and I tacked on another field goal for them when I was going to do 34-13, and I said, nah, you know what? I think they're going to kick another one somewhere, and so I changed it right at the last.
Yeah, maybe an early season turnover at the beginning of the game where Old Dominion gets ideal field position but can't punch it in the end zone.
Yeah,
I think
something like
there's
that.
going to be some field goal settling.
Jack Veltri putting all that together. He'll be joining us on the phone lines coming up in just a little bit. All right, so a couple of quick other college football things before we get back into the Gamecocks. And thanks once again to our good friend Langston Moore for joining us last hour, talking a lot of Gamecock football. Colorado wins. They win by 5, right? 31-26 last night. North Dakota State did have an opportunity to throw a Hail Mary and try to win the game. Came up just short.
4 Kevin Dysons, if you will. If that's a unit of measurement. They were 4 yards short of the end zone.
Travis Hunter's 120-something snaps last night. And then Dion in postgame, like some of y'all are mad. I don't, and he was talking to the media, like some of y'all in the media are mad. I was like, I think one people that are mad are probably going to be like North Dakota State fans and Colorado State fans because North Dakota State lost and Colorado State don't like you. I don't know that a lot of people listen. I was a big Dion fan growing up. I've told you the story before. Dion one time came to Columbia when he was at Florida State, in addition to playing football here. But he played like center field and ran track in the same day one time for Florida State. He's amazing. I know that. I don't know how good a coach he is. He was good at Jackson State. I don't know that he's going to get it done the same way at Colorado because it's a whole other animal to get the kind of talent. You get a whole bunch of Travis Hunters and you start to win some football games, man. More good players will win you games in college. I think Dion's making too much of this for whatever reason. He was a big time trash talker and all of a sudden some of it comes back on him as a coach and he's a little Charmin-y, man. And I'm just not.
His ego's just bruised.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, look, you were 4-8 last year. You started 3-0, and then you just hit the skids because you're not ready for it. And the Pac-12 was really good last year. I think the Big 12 is good this year. I think Dion needs to quit looking for sympathy or whatever it is that he might be looking for. Maybe
Quit
it's not
caring. If someone isn't,
Yeah.
if someone doesn't think you're the second coming of Bobby Bowden.
He's banning reporters and columnists, and it's just. I'm not saying I don't get it because I think I do get it. I don't agree with it. I don't like it, but I'm not mad. I don't care enough to be mad.
The whole mad thing is kind of like a microcosm of society where people mistaken criticism for hate. Because I criticize the work you do does not mean I hate you as a person or I'm going to be mad if you win. Dude, you came in with all of the brand that you built, that you have built with your hard work and your son's hard work and Travis Hunter's hard work. And you've built this brand that is brash. It is bold. And it came in here and you lit the world on fire for the first 4 weeks of the season. Newsflash, you play more than 4 games and you peed down your leg for the last 8 of them. So no, it's not hate to point out that you went 4-8 last year.
Right.
That your offensive line was so bad that
facts are facts, right?
It doesn't matter if your son was, Michael Vick, he's not escaping those pockets. Right. So quit mistaking criticism and fact for hate. That's not what it is. Bottom line, your team was bad last year. No matter how much attention you got, your team was still bad. There's a sensitivity thing that I think it kind of gets old on a lot of people too, that no one's going to kiss your butt because you went 4-8, dude. You're in the FBS now. You're in the Power 4. You're in the Big 12 now. You're going to play a lot of really good teams this year. And so what if someone's a little skeptical that you can't be 7-5 in this league?
Well,
I don't think they'd be 7-5 in that league.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think they will.
So like it does give off, and like honestly, it does give off some like snake oil salesman vibes when you talk a big game in the first year you come into the league. You
Right.
get smacked up, regardless of how bad you were previously. In today's modern college football, you can get older and faster, or you can get older and better a lot faster than you could before transfer portal, before the NIL, before everything that we discussed that has made the modern college game the modern college game. That's, I guess, my one hang up on Deion Sanders. I don't hate Deion Sanders, but it's fair to criticize his coaching, especially last night. Like, how the hell do you not pull Pat Shermer to the side and say, why are we throwing the ball down the field when all we got to do is run the ball and run the clock out and this game is over? The only reason North Dakota State had a chance to throw the ball in the end zone to end the game is because one pass play didn't take any time off the clock. That's what it is. Like, I just don't confuse criticism for actual hate. That's not what goes on.
Colorado goes to Nebraska next week. They
Could very
go
well be a
to
loss.
Colorado State after that. Then they host Baylor, and they go to UCF.
That's the easiest part, and that's the easiest part of the schedule.
Yeah.
Because it gets brutal, that back six. You're playing almost all preseason ranked teams by the time you get to the back six.
I know they edged Nebraska last season. This one's in Lincoln. I think Nebraska is going to win that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. If Raiola is a third of what he's supposed to be, I mean, it's going to be really tough.
Colorado State, I don't know enough about the Rams, to be honest with you. I think last year was a pretty good game, right?
It was a thriller. I think it was double overtime.
Yeah.
Do you buy the fact someone tried to poach Colorado State's quarterback for $600,000?
No, I do not.
Nope.
What did I tell you? I think maybe between $600 and $1,000, but not $600,000.
But not $600,000.
That's what I. And then they host Baylor. You know, Dave Aranda on a hot seat, and then they go down and see UCF and Gus Malzahn. Maybe they're 2-3 after 5.
If they're 2-3 after 5, they're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, if
Because again, they got to play Kansas State.
How good is Baylor this year? I don't know.
I
mean,
think
none of us know
they'll be
yet.
better than last year. It's going to be dependent on how much Daquan Finn at quarterback translates the incredible numbers he had at the MAC level,
right.
The Big 12 level, and that's assuming Dave Aranda can find his team an offensive identity.
But you know, Deion, again, nobody's mad that you won, dude.
No.
Again, well, that's not true. Again, North Dakota State is mad that you
Yes.
won, and Colorado State is mad that you won. That's it.
College football is good when if a personality like Deion comes in and they're good, kind of like the U was in the 90s and 2000s. It makes college football
you need
better.
a heel. You need a heel. Yeah,
but you're not
you need
a good
Ric
heel.
Flair, right? You need your guy.
But you're not a good heel when you're 4-8.
No, or when you're whining about being portrayed as a heel.
Yeah, because then you're a punching bag.
Embrace the heel.
Yeah, a heel that's bad at what they do is a punching bag.
Yeah. Jack Veltri on the other side of the break, talking more Gamecock football. We'll get into his thoughts on what we're looking at for tomorrow. And again, come by and see us here at Columbia Craft in the Vista. Grab a pint or two. Enjoy the weather.
That's right.
It's a little warm, but hey, that's what cold beer's for.
Exactly. Cools you down.
That's right. It's the Friday postgame show. Be right back. Well, let me tell you about our good friends at Cato's Power Equipment as the summer days begin to wind down. Though it doesn't feel like it yet, but they will. It'll be time for you to get the yard nice and cleaned up. They've got some great deals right now on brand new steel backpack blowers, $50 off. Whether that's something that you need at the house, whether you're a professional, you need something new, maybe something additional to get the jobs done a whole lot quicker. Ben, Matt, and the crew at Cato's ready to help you out. And I say this all the time, whether you cut your own backyard or anything else that you have to do to keep it nice and manicured, or you do it for a living, you need to see Cato's for excellent sales, service, and advice. Yours truly will be using my Toro Time Master this weekend to get the yard done. And I'll still be watching a whole lot of football, too, because it makes it a whole lot quicker. Whatever you need, check them out at Cato's. Family-owned and operated since 1983, 4012 West Beltline Boulevard, and always online at Cato'sPowerEquipment.com. All right, 18 minutes after 4 o'clock on this Friday afternoon. Welcome back in. It's the postgame show alongside Elijah Campbell. I'm Jay Phillips. Terry Ford is running master control today in the Herndon Chevy studios. Jeff is down here hanging with us. Jeannie is down here keeping us straight. Haley's down here doing the same thing. Appreciate everybody. Kevin won a pair, or he actually won our 3-pack.
He did.
That's
the
right.
first ever 3-pack.
That's right.
I don't know if it's the first ever
So
one, but I want to claim
congratulations
it's the first ever one.
To Kevin. And let me look at Jeff real quick. I'm live on the radio, but you have 2 pair to give away, right? So this one and one more, right? So I got 1 pair left. That's what I've got. I've got 1. Well, I don't have it left. Jeff does. 1 pair left. Come say hey, and you win.
That's right. All you got to do is come say hi.
Yeah.
Maybe compliment how we look.
Yeah, you don't need to do that. Well, I look great.
I know I look great.
That's why I work in radio.
But I like the affirmation, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Our good friend Jack Beltry, I'm sure looks great as well, and he's got high school football coverage tonight. He's got Gamecock coverage tomorrow. He's been busy putting together staff picks at GamecockCentral.com. Happy Football Friday, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good, guys. I wish I could be there with you. Maybe having a beer if that's allowed on radio. But, I'm covering some high school football tonight out in the Charlotte area. And, I'm looking forward to this weekend. Happy football, happy college football season. And I'm so glad it's finally here.
Yeah, beer is allowed, right towards the end of the program, perhaps, or like at 5:55 as Fish sings. But
we are on radio, so no one can tell on.
Well,
you
that's true.
Unless you tell on yourself.
That's true. That's a great point. Jack, not that people, are going to be, just hanging on every word that any of our staff picks might have in terms of prognostication for tomorrow. But using that as a guide for everything else that you're gathering, I don't know if you did like an average score on the staff picks, but it felt like everybody except one, I think Wellbaum maybe thought it was going to be tight. Everybody else seems to think this is going to be a comfortable enough win for Carolina, yeah?
Yeah, I think everyone from the staff picks we did has this about, where the spread is. And last time I checked, it's Carolina 19.5 points. Do I think they're going to cover? No, I think it's going to be a little closer than people might expect. I think in the first half, Old Dominion will keep this game close, but I said it in my staff pick. Eventually, I think in the second half, talent and depth is just too much for Old Dominion to overcome. And I think South Carolina is eventually going to pull away in the second half, but I'll give Old Dominion credit. I think they're going to give it a good fight tomorrow. It just won't be enough.
Yeah, certainly. And I think the one thing that makes me think that it's going to be really close in the first half, Jack, is it's just when you look at the offense, there's so much like potential in terms of the talent you brought in, older talent. However, you're going to probably have a true freshman starting at left tackle. You're going to have a couple transfers potentially starting on the offensive line, at least what the depth chart says. You have a quarterback making his first career start, and a bunch of transfers at skill positions. And while I still am a believer in the talent that's on the offense, I do think it might take a half to be able to get them going against Old Dominion. And we might see maybe a 14 to 17 point first half and then may pick things up late. But what are you kind of expecting based with all the newness in that offense that we can expect for tomorrow?
Yeah, man, no, I totally agree with you. You brought up the last word right there, newness. There's going to be so many new guys in this offense. And despite, working together as a group, going over the offense since August 1st, and even before that, going back to spring ball, I think it's going to take a little bit of time to get into the flow of things, just like every team in college football. Can we see a few big plays right out of the gate? Yeah, sure, definitely. But consistency is the key. And I think you might see a few drives where, there's maybe a miscommunication or someone drops a pass or the run game's just not going efficiently. I think eventually, once they come out of the break, things will feel good because they'll adjust and have a better plan for what to do in the second half. But, yeah, I could definitely see some moments in the first half where it looks like, yeah, it's the first game of the season. Just give it a little bit of time, and this team will come together.
Talking to Jack Beltry on the beat for Gamecock Central, Carolina Old Dominion tomorrow at 4:15. Again, our coverage starts tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. Jack, I think a couple of weeks ago we asked you something like this, and I'll do it again here now that we've had more time to process and we're a day away from the football game. Honestly, right at about 24 hours away. Who's somebody we're needing to focus on that we haven't talked about enough? Who is somebody that maybe is raising the right kind of eyebrows in practice, and maybe even, dare I say, Shane would like to keep under wraps a little more?
Oh boy, that's a tough question, Jay, because I feel like there's a lot of guys that really could be that under the radar type of player. I'm going to go with a name that's been very popular for whatever reason on social media lately. I feel like Vendravius Jacobs, Dre Jacobs, he's going to have a nice game at receiver tomorrow. I don't know, there's something about Vendravius. So that's been a common social media thread that's gone a little viral lately. I think a lot of people are wanting to see him be explosive. We don't know exactly who's the true number one in this receiver room right now. It's going to be a lot by committee, I think, early in the year. At least that's the way Dow Loggins and Shane Beamer have made it out to be. But if someone's going to step up, I think it's going to probably be Jarrett Brown. But it wouldn't surprise me if Vendravius Jacobs, the transfer from Florida State, has a nice game tomorrow and fires the crowd up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't get where the Vendravius Jacobs memes come from. Now, don't get me wrong, they're funny. I'm just not sure of the origin. But either way, they're very enjoyable. But, Jack, tomorrow, Old Dominion's coming into a crowd they've never played in as a program. Virginia Tech's probably the biggest one. But even then, they have a history of going to Virginia Tech, and they've beaten them before. They've also scared the hell out of them on multiple occasions over, the last 15 years. Old Dominion can play a spoiler, and if it's a close game in the third and fourth quarter, as our friend Langston Moore would say, that there can be a little bit of lemon butt going on within the team. But what does South Carolina have to do to avoid feeling that pressure that teams can do whenever they are facing a G5 team at their home stadium?
It's pretty simple, I think. They just got to play their brand of football. That's kind of the key for them. They have to play well in all three phases of the game. It sounds cliche and it sounds like, football talk, football speak, whatever you want to say, but it's true. I mean, South Carolina is the better team heading into this matchup. And as long as they don't kill themselves with self-inflicted wounds, kind of like what they did last year with all the mistakes that they made, as long as they're not doing that, I think this is a pretty smooth sailing type of win for them. Now, will there be mistakes? I'm sure you'll see some false starts or something, or maybe there's a few 3-and-outs. I'm not sure, but I think South Carolina's got the team. They got the guys in place to where, as long as they do what they're supposed to do, it should be a pretty simple win for them. It's easier said than done. Who knows what happens in these types of games, but as long as you're playing well and playing your style of football and feeding off the energy from the home crowd, I can't see the Gamecocks losing.
Jack, last thing for you. At the back of the defense, we know O'Donnell Fortune on one side. We know Nick Hemingway and DQ Smith are your safeties. We know Jalen Kilgore is going to be that nickel. Judge Collier, Bakari Swain still kind of battling it out at corner. Anything more you've learned about, however much it may matter, which one goes out there first tomorrow afternoon?
Yeah, truly, I'm not sure yet. I think it's going to be something where we're in warm-ups and we just see, who's out there with the one. If I had to guess, just based on the way the defensive guys and Shane Beamer kind of talk, during these last few weeks, I would probably lean more towards Judge Collier. He's the guy that had that starting experience last year at DB. He knows what this defense does and all that. It's not to say Bakari Swain doesn't, but having that starting experience, I feel like gives Judge the edge. Although I feel like, Shane even said it a few weeks ago, him, Emery Floyd, and Bakari are all going to play on Saturday. So it wouldn't surprise me if Judge is starting out there. Don't be shocked if Bakari Swain gets in there and rotates in.
Good stuff as always, sir. Enjoy tonight. Enjoy tomorrow. Have a great weekend. Again, happy football. We'll holler at you here real soon.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Hope I can get out there for a beer with you guys soon and hop on radio. So looking forward to it. And take it easy.
Don't worry. We'll have one for you, sir.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah, we'll have one for you. We'll do our best. That's Jack Veltri, Jack T. Veltri, to follow along on Twitter, and you catch his work all the time at GamecockCentral.com. We'll take an early drive around the SEC when the postgame show returns.
Already got pulled up.
Integrated Media remains Columbia's leader in today's technology for your home and business. And when it comes to football season, nobody is better at making you feel like you're part of the action than my friends at Integrated Media. Call them up at 803-948-8327. Maybe after you've been at the game yesterday and you're like, well, I got to do better for road games. Or maybe you're not going to be at the ballpark tomorrow and you're at your brother-in-law's house and you're a little envious of what he's got. Or not even that, you're like, just wait till I take it to the next level. Not that I would really promote that type of environment. I'm just saying you need to call Integrated Media to make it happen for you. Whatever you're looking for in a home theater system, they are ready to make it happen. And with the Control4 app, with your AV, your lights, your thermostat all in one place, man, you will be king of the castle. You can also check out their Experience Center on Snapdragon and Court and Chapin. See a lot of what they're doing for you. But best of all, they make house calls. 803-948-8327. Call them up, Integrated Media.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell. The few accidents to get to, they're causing some issues on the roadways this Friday afternoon. We're going to start with two big ones here in Richland County. One on 20 eastbound over at Fairfield Road near exit 70. We got two left lanes completely blocked, so traffic is going very slowly through there. And on 26 eastbound, that's going to be over near the Columbia Avenue exit 91. The left two lanes are also blocked there as well. So accidents on 20 east and 26 east. Traffic moving very, very slowly. Other parts in town, we have an accident on Boney Road at McNulty Street, one on Highway 1 at Augusta Road at Highway 16 and Beltline Boulevard, and lastly, one on 20 eastbound at Spears Creek Church Road. That's over near exit 82.
All right, welcome back into the postgame show here on this Friday afternoon. Jay and Elijah with you. Terry's at Master Control. Haley's out here. We ran Jeannie off.
We scared her.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, I guess you hang around with us long enough. You want to bounce too.
Yeah.
Can't blame her.
No, I don't blame her. But thanks to Jack Veltri for joining us. Appreciate his time here today. Again, we got a pair of tickets left. If you'd like to go to tomorrow's game, sold out. In fact, I'm also told we have single, so we could hook you up with that too.
For the first time, we gave away a 3-pack,
Yeah.
and now we can give away the singles special.
Yeah, well, I
That's what
guess.
I wanna start calling it.
I think the guy that won the 3-pack only needed 2, and he didn't want the third one.
And now it's an opportunity to turn an acquaintance into a friend.
Yeah, because he didn't really take your advice, man. I guess he just had a friend.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess he has enough friends to
That's good.
necessitate bringing multiple ones to the game.
And we did give Evan, who was also a fellow Arsenal fan. Evan
Had the hat and everything.
Yeah, had his Carolina shirt and his Arsenal hat. I've done that before.
He tried to give me the Go Gunners fist bump, and I said, nope. We got to pull back on that one.
Yeah,
Can't do it.
Told him you were a Spurs fan and you're radioactive at that point. I even saw him kind of recoil, man, like you had something wrong with you.
Yeah, like I had
'Cause,
some
you know,
disease.
maybe you do. Drive around the SEC time. Yes, typically it's at 5:30, but today at 5:30 on Football Fridays, we do the Wild Card Showdown. So we moved the drive around the SEC up to the 4:30 block. Last night, we did have 2 games, and really Arkansas and Missouri were really, 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 really awful hosts.
Rude, even.
It is. Arkansas beat Arkansas Pine Bluff 70-0.
Ugh, gross.
And Missouri beat Murray State 51-0. Both of them covered the spread, but Missouri made it close. They were a 50-point favorite.
That's right. That's, for those who bet on Missouri 49.5 or 50.5, you were sweating it out.
You know that Eli wanted to cover the spread, man.
Oh, absolutely.
You know he did.
He definitely seems, out of all the coaches in the SEC,
Yeah.
like there are some that you can buy that, oh, I'm not paying attention to that type of stuff. Oh, we don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. And you believe it, right? Like Nick Saban, I believed, genuinely didn't give a rat's about what people said about his team, what point spreads were.
Right.
None of that. I guarantee you cannot explain what a point spread is. I guarantee you can't, because he's had no interest. Not saying he's dumb. I'm just saying he's had no interest.
Right.
Eli Drinkwitz, however, I can almost guarantee you, if you sat him down here next to us right now and said, hey, what's your career record against the spread? He'd know it.
Oh, yeah.
And if he was proud of it, he'd be proudly telling you what that record was. Or if he was ashamed of it, he would tell you, not even reluctantly, but that he's trying to get better at that as well.
I would not disagree with you at all. But those were your 2 last night. We have a game tonight. I wonder if Oklahoma has ever played a football game on a Friday.
That's a really good question.
You know, they probably have.
It's at some point, but it does feel odd to talk about tonight being in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma plays Temple tonight in Norman. Oklahoma is a 42-point favorite. Do they cover? Probably so.
Yeah, Temple's pretty bad.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a tough watch. This year.
So of course, we're gonna come back around to the biggest ones. Tomorrow, though, we have Virginia Tech at Vandy. Hokies are 13.5-point favorites.
That one's interesting.
I mean, look, I'm not pulling for or against anybody. It'd be fun to see Vandy get a W there, just because, they need some W's.
Considering they're basically projected to go 2-10 again. Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be a lot of sign of optimism for Vanderbilt this year. They are going to look for anything and everything. And Virginia Tech has aspirations of getting to the college football playoff, because I think winning the ACC is not out of the realm of possibility for them.
I don't disagree. Again, Tech, a 13.5-point favorite. Tennessee, a heavy favorite, 38.5 over Chattanooga.
Terrell Owens still playing?
No, he's
for
not.
Chattanooga? Oh, yeah. Tennessee probably covers
I think
them.
he retired.
I don't think he's walking through that door.
Texas is a 33.5-point favorite over Colorado State. So we get some measure of Colorado State in relation to what we were talking about earlier with Colorado. But I expect Texas to win comfortably. Mississippi State is a 24.5-point favorite over Eastern Kentucky. What's Eastern Kentucky? What's their match?
They're the Colonels.
I think they're going to cover.
You think the Colonels cover?
Yeah.
The covering Colonels?
Yeah, I think so.
Jay Phillips claims it right now. The covering Colonels.
How good is it? I don't know anything about State. I know like nothing. Jeff Levy.
They brought in a quarterback that's old. Blake Shapen's played a lot of football at Baylor. They brought in a lot of transfer portal wide receivers, but none of them lit the world on fire elsewhere. It's a glued together roster this year.
Yeah.
And they're going to take their lumps, man. They definitely are. And actually, Eastern Kentucky's coach, Walt Wells, we used to have him on our high school football show almost every Friday night
Yeah.
in Nashville. He was a friend of the program. Walt can coach.
All right.
Walt can coach. So the covering Cardinals are back, baby.
Eastern Kentucky I have covering. Alabama has Western Kentucky. Alabama only a 31.5 point favorite. I have Bama covering this one.
I think so too. TJ Finley was named the starter for Western Kentucky. And Jay Phillips, this will be his third time playing Alabama with 3 different schools as a starter.
Where else?
Auburn and LSU.
I say Auburn, right? I was going to LSU too. Okay.
Auburn, so this is Alabama seeing TJ Finley.
LSU first,
then
Auburn.
Auburn. Yeah. So this is Alabama seeing TJ Finley for the third time in a third different uniform. College football, baby.
Furman will be at Ole Miss. Good luck, Paladins. Alabama A&M at Auburn. Auburn a 47.5. I didn't know they had. Wow. And Kentucky has Southern Miss. Kentucky minus 27.
Yeah, Will Hall's had a tough time recently over at Southern Miss. That could be, if you want to talk about G5 coaching hot seats or coaches the most under pressure to perform, if I can spit it out, at the G5 level, Will Hall's on the short list.
So the EFPI says Kentucky gets this one done, huh?
Yeah, like 88%, 89.
Okay. All right.
Nothing in life's a certainty.
Again, we'll do the big games now in terms of SEC schools. Again, no conference games this weekend. We'll start in order. Clemson, 13.5 right now. Let's see. Yeah, no, got it 11.5. Oh, that's changed.
I'm telling you, there's been some money coming in on Clemson plus 13.5. 2 points like that. That means there's definitely been a flow of cash that casinos are uncomfortable with.
Yeah. I did see 2 computer models that have Georgia winning by more than 15 points, whatever that may be worth to you.
Yeah.
Georgia's going to win this game. I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if Clemson wins. Maybe not like, what? But
I think Clemson's going to be able to hold that offense because, here's the thing about Georgia, too.
Got a defense.
Clemson's got a really good defensive front. And as much as I think of Carson Beck, the one thing about that Georgia offense is that the receiving unit is still pretty unproven.
Yeah.
And Ra Thomas was going to be one of the leading receivers on that team. He is no longer with them. So they're going to need a Dylan Bell and Oscar Delp at tight end, maybe. Other guys. Delp's pretty good. Delp is, when you can replace Brock Bowers and Oscar Delp.
People are asking, how do you replace Brock Bowers? And I'm like, here's how with Delp. Now, Delp is not 100% of Brock Bowers, but I think he might be 90%.
He could be.
Good, man.
Delp is almost a reincarnation of Brock Bowers in a way. But they're going to need some deep threats. They're going to need guys to be able to stretch the field. Can Dominic Lovett do that? I don't know. Can Dylan Bell do that? I don't know.
And they're beat up in the run game.
Yeah, if ETN's suspended, I don't know if we ever got any clarification on that. So
we haven't.
We probably won't know until the game starts. And if ETN doesn't play, there's a good chance that Clemson can make this game really ugly and uncomfortable for Georgia for at least 3 quarters.
Tomorrow afternoon, Miami at Florida. We've talked about it all week long. Again, as I've said, it's as close to must win as it can get. And I'll just tell y'all, I told Elijah when we were talking about the show this morning in our meeting, I saw Tony Barnhart's write-up of this game. And Tony does think it's must win. In fact, he so much thinks it's must win. He said it's a must win game. Ooh. So double mustard.
That's a double mustard application of this game. That's tough. And there's a lot of truth to it. And I'm always going to be one of those. I'm just hesitant to say any game in August is must win. But if Billy Napier wants to keep the vultures away from flying over his coaching carcass, which is what's going to happen if he loses this game. He needs to make sure they end up winning, or at least, looking good enough to inspire some confidence in that fan base.
I just think that's what it's about, man. It's really not about, winning the game is winning the game. It's not about the season and what it might get, bowl this and whatever that. It's, as I told you, obviously being figurative here, not literal. This is to keep Gainesville from burning down. Because if they lose, that's what's going to be happening. I mean, it's going to be, it's just that's why you've got to win that game in your ballpark. You've got to win that game. But Miami is a very slight favorite, 2.5 right now. Finally, real quick, Notre Dame goes to A&M tomorrow night. A&M is the 3-point favorite. The computers favor the Irish. Some unknowns on both. There's some knowns on both with that Duke connection, which is kind of interesting.
Mike Elko against his old starting quarterback.
Yeah, and I just think I don't know, man.
Modern college football.
A&M. You got to restore or give me some faith in you first. So I'll take Notre Dame in this one.
Yeah, speaking of faith, I'm really high on Notre Dame. I think Riley Leonard's going to be at least really fun. And if there's any coach in the country that's going to get a defense ready to travel to a place like A&M, it's Marcus Freeman.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Now,
high
Leonard's,
on the Irish
he's got 2 injuries to kind of come back from, and
Yep.
there's that. But
he's a question mark, but he's
yeah.
a talented question
Yeah, I
mark, if
agree.
that makes sense.
I
He's
agree.
a very talented question mark.
And finally, real quick, LSU in Southern California on Sunday night out in Las Vegas. LSU a 4-point favorite, maybe with some type of subconscious SEC bias. I'll take LSU to win that game.
Yeah, give me LSU, and I don't care what the over is. Take it. I don't need to hear the number.
55.
Take it.
All right.
Over.
There
No
you
one's
go.
going to stop anybody.
All right. Good stuff. All right. Let's drive around the SEC. Back with more of the postgame show live at Columbia Craft in the Vista on the postgame. All right, 11 minutes in front of 5 o'clock here on a Friday afternoon, a football Friday afternoon. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell broadcasting live from Columbia Craft in the Vista. Come say hey. Got a nice crowd here. Inside, outside.
Yeah.
They got the fans blowing, so you're all good. They got the beer flowing, so you're all good.
Picking up steam. That's the
That's right.
best way to spend your Friday afternoon, right before the season opener.
Many of you will be, looks like a lot of folks here are probably going to be headed up to the Hootie and the Blowfish concert in a little bit.
I would say so.
Yep.
I would absolutely, I would agree with that.
Should be fun. Enjoy, have fun. You will be doing the high school scoreboard show tonight.
Yeah, I just now realized I have to drive in that. I have to take an alternate route to get back to the station once we go off the air here.
Let's see. You should just go down Eugene Street, like all the way down to like Taylor, turn right, and then just come back around towards the station, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I just need to avoid CLA, which is just right down there.
It's right there.
No,
as Terry Ford would. Well, I would tell Terry Ford that direction-wise, right there.
We're close enough. I can take a pogo stick and get there in good time.
Yeah, well, I don't know that I don't know. That's kind of you got to go up that little thing on the hill there.
We're trying a pogo stick.
Well,
I'll provide some power.
Okay. I don't like those things, man.
See, I have gotten hurt on those before.
Yeah,
but I like using it as a unit of measurement to describe if I'm close enough somewhere.
Fair enough.
To be able to use it. Not to say that I would or would want to, but I physically could.
Right.
If I decided to make that.
We'll talk a little bit more about this in just a little bit in terms of some of the games that is, but we do have some breaking news for you, and it's the disappointing kind, especially for Chapel Hill fans. North Carolina starting quarterback Max Johnson, Brad's boy, who was at LSU and
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
Yep, it was a Texas A&M last.
Started last night for North Carolina with their or at their game in Minneapolis. And many of you that were watching saw him carted off, and now it is official, a broken leg, and Max Johnson is done for the season. Andrea Adelson of ESPN reporting that he will undergo season-ending surgery in the coming days. So if that he may have already.
I was
actually
say,
he did.
Sure
he has already
had it.
He has. Now that I see this, he has already had surgery in Minneapolis. And he will be back in Chapel Hill in a few days' time. So he has already had the surgery. So that's tough, man.
Terrible.
That's tough. There's no other way around that. Look, I don't know that the forecast for Chapel Hill was all that great this season anyway, you know.
Not going to contend for the ACC at least.
No. But this certainly sets them back just just a bit. I don't think there's any other way to put it. So that's a tough blow.
I mean, at least like last night, once he went down, the offense figured out when they needed to figure it out. Connor Harrell, I thought, did a admirable job of coming in relief and making that one play where he's right-handed passer. He scrolls out to his left, and as soon as Minnesota brings the pressure, he swaps ball from left hand to right hand and throws a little drop pass that helps set up the game-winning field goal. But I mean, for a guy like Max Johnson, who has played a lot of college football, he doesn't have much eligibility left. I think this was his last year of eligibility. That's pretty heartbreaking to see that the season it basically ends before it starts. And for an injury like that to have to go into surgery immediately was a pretty tough thing to watch.
I suppose there's, again, it was going to be his last season. You can get another year.
Yeah.
But what's that rehab like? These are questions that'll be answered a little bit later on, and some real thought. Obviously, his dad was a long-time NFLer, so can tell him about how to get through a lot of these kind of things. But that's a tough blow. There's no doubt about that. But that was a good game last night.
A thrilling game.
Yeah.
And I feel, awful for that poor Minnesota kicker, man. He doinked the 27-yarder and then had a chance to win the game. And for like a split second, it looked like it was going to sail in, right down not right down the middle, but maybe squeak in past that right upright, and then just sailed the opposite direction, almost went over the upright itself. But I felt sick for that poor kid.
And
man.
then
That's a bummer.
I think somebody who controls the fireworks when they do something good thought that may have gone in or something. I don't know how that worked, but
because it can be tricky from the press box. If you're firing things off from the press box, your vantage point you might think a kick is good, but there are two fellas that are dressed in black and white with hats
right under
it that will tell you if it was good or no good. My advice to anybody that's in charge of the Minnesota fireworks: watch those two fellas, and they will tell you if you should press that button or not press that button.
Somebody will have a talking to.
A pretty good talking to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hour number 2 is winding down here from Columbia Craft. Again, come say hey to us. We got a really nice crowd in here right now. You can come by, grab a T-shirt. We got a pair of tickets left to give away as well. And we'll do that for you coming up next hour. We'll have a lot of sound from Shane Beamer to get you ready for tomorrow's game. And we will be playing the Wild Card Showdown coming up in just a little bit, too. And then Elijah will be recommending some more of the great fare here from Columbia Craft. Again, I've already chosen what I'll be having, a past tense West Coast IPA.
We are West Coast IPA fellas on the show.
So that'll be
IPA appreciators.
That'll be what's coming up in a bit. So again, come see us. Thanks to our friends at Columbia Honda Powerhouse for everything they do for us. Mr. Jim and the crew will give you one more shot at a pair of tickets. All you do is come say hey. It's that easy. Come say hey. Jeff has tickets ready for you. Wildcard Showdown and a whole lot more. It's a Football Friday. Jay and Elijah live at Columbia Craft in the Vista. Back to the final hour right after this. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at The Joint Chiropractic, 4 locations across town. Janet and Bob Keene have lived in Columbia a long time, ready to help you out. You can be in and out quickly when you go to The Joint. You don't have to miss lunch. They're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 7, Saturdays, 10 until 4. If you haven't been to a chiropractor, if you're worried about some of these things, listen, an initial visit with a consultation, exam, and adjustment is just $29. You never need an appointment. So if you're bothered by back, neck, shoulder, or joint pain, get back in the game. And don't worry about insurance. Listen, they've even got a great deal for you for $79 a month. And if you're traveling to out-of-town games, it's not just The Joint in Columbia with 4 locations. There are locations all across the United States. You can be seen at just about any of them. When you're in their system, a new doctor can access your records, see your treatment history, and know exactly what's going on. Chiropractic care can maintain overall health, fix the problem, and regular adjustments make it easy to maintain recurring problems. Check them out.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell, and we have two big accidents to report to you that have been causing some issues on the roadways here in Richland County. Both of these accidents have the two left lanes completely blocked. One of them is on I-20 eastbound at Fairfield Road near exit 70, and the other one's on I-26 eastbound at Columbia Avenue. That one's going to be over at exit 91. So again, 20 eastbound at exit 70 and 26 eastbound at exit 91.
5 o'clock on this Friday afternoon. Welcome back in. It's the final hour of the postgame show. Alongside Elijah Campbell, I'm Jay Phillips. We are broadcasting live from Columbia Craft, corner of UG and Green and Pulaski, technically, here in the South Vista, the Sista, as Elijah likes to call it. Terry Ford's running master control. The Haleys are out here. Haley is helping us out. Jeff Haley is also helping us out. Again, we got one pair of Carolina ODU tickets left to give you. You got to come say hey. So come on by, get a pair of tickets, grab a pint. Maybe you're heading up to the concert tonight or just getting ready for the game tomorrow.
Yeah.
Come say hey, get a little pre-tailgate in.
A lot of people here to socialize with. You got a really good
music's
crowd.
thumping.
It is. I can feel it in the chest a little bit. I can feel that bass. When you can feel the bass, you know that it's kicked up a notch.
That's right. But we got a good crowd out here today. We've given away tickets. Let's see. Jacob earlier won a pair of tickets to see Hootie. Way to go, Jacob. Kevin and Evan. That's fun. Each won tickets to the football game tomorrow. And again, one pair left thanks to Carolina Honda Powerhouse. So Mr. Jim and the crew from Carolina Honda Powerhouse with one more pair to give you. So come say hey to us. You got to come here.
Yes, come see us.
Come see us.
And
No
say
trivia.
hi.
No
Yeah.
trivia. Nothing, have to do any tricks. Nothing like that. Just come say hey. We got some sound from Coach Beamer to get to here in just a little bit. And in about a half hour's time, Elijah and I will be inviting two of you on board to play the first wild card showdown of the season. What was our gift certificate? O'Hara's.
O'Hara's, $50.
Yeah, $50
O'Hara's.
gift certificate to O'Hara's is up for grabs.
You can buy
Now,
a lot of steelworkers.
You won't know that you won until Tuesday. Well, if you keep up with what we do, you could probably figure it out on Monday night. But we are going to have the Florida State-Boston College game as part of the Wild Card Showdown this weekend.
On Monday.
Yeah, so that's a Monday nighter. By the way, and I'm not trying to rain on college football's parade, but I saw somebody saying, "Oh, what a great time for college football. No NFL on Labor Day weekend." And I thought, when's the NFL gonna take over Labor Day weekend? They're gonna try.
If they add games,
if you taunt and tease them, they'll take it from you.
Yeah, they are greedy and money hungry. So if they do add games, I don't think they're going to be adding games to the end of the season because they don't want to play the Super Bowl in March.
Nah, they're going to move the Super Bowl to the Sunday before President's Day. You watch. Have they already not decided that?
Talked about. Because,
that's what they're going to do.
Loosely discussed.
That's
I don't
what
think
they're
if
gonna
any of the discussions are
They'll
legitimate, but
they'll
it's
add
going
the
to
18th.
happen.
Yeah, they'll add the 18th game.
Yeah.
And they'll move the Super Bowl to, where most people have a holiday.
Most people. Yes.
Speaking of which, we're working Monday.
We are.
So,
a lot to react to. There's been so much happening this weekend. College football is back. I think I could do an 8-hour show.
I'm very excited.
Again,
and today the energy just in putting the show together was a whole lot of fun. The Gamecocks, 21-point favorites, 52.5 the over-under. The computer gives Carolina 87.4% chance to win this ball game. You know, for me, it's how quickly. My buzzwords for the week that I will repeat again: cohesion and confidence. Cohesion and confidence. That is what needs to be built tomorrow. I am not looking past Old Dominion, Elijah Campbell, but I am looking ahead to Kentucky. And I think both of those things can be true. But that game next week is so big. Look, the game in 2 weeks against LSU is also big, but it just the tone that can be set, first off, by getting some of that cohesion and confidence tomorrow and translating it in a positive way to next weekend could be just gigantic. The difference in what could be 1-1 or 2-0 could be huge for South Carolina football. You don't get to 2-0 without getting 1-0 first.
Very true.
I think Carolina wins tomorrow, but Old Dominion comes in not afraid, not overly concerned. They're also picking up a check for $1.5 million.
That's a healthy payday.
So it's a good day already for the ODU athletic department.
They've already won. The department already won.
But again, cohesion and confidence. I will continue to bang that drum, but that's what I want to see tomorrow.
Absolutely, and especially with how you end the game too. I think it's fair to assume that there's going to be some struggles early on in this game. And it's well documented just how much shakeup this offensive side of the football has seen, with the loaded wide receiver room with transfers, with a bunch of offensive linemen where you have some returners, but some of the most important players you're going to rely on the most are transfers in the middle of the offensive line, or a true freshman as a left tackle, and then the most important player on your offense might be Rocket Sanders in general, also a transfer. So it's going to be imperative to finish the game really well, because I think some mistakes early on are going to be baked into the results. Right. So if you're able to end the game by scoring on the last few drives, or being able to, if the game is somewhat close, maybe even like a 2-score game, you can get it to make a 3-score game, get it out of reach. And that way you're not thinking, oh, wow, we have to go into Kentucky. Kentucky's going to crush Southern Miss. Feel really good about that. So Kentucky's going to feel good about themselves. You need to go into that game feeling as good about yourself as possible and not have a single seed of doubt sewed into your head.
Amen, brother. I completely agree. Terry Ford, if you wouldn't mind, please, sir, from Carolina Calls last night, heard right here on 107.5 The Game. Got cut 3, Terry. Shane Beamer last night with the all-important injury report for the Gamecocks.
2 offensive linemen, Ja'Kai Moore and Aaron Parks, they're still out. They'll be out for a little bit. Hopefully we'll be able to get those 2 guys back before the end of the season. Hoping for them. They're in good spirits, and we'll see what happens. We got a couple guys that are, I would say, are questionable right now, Todd, but nothing major or long-term if they aren't able to go on Saturday. But other than that, we're in great shape. We really are. And proud of our players for the way they've handled their business and practiced the right way to be able to stay healthy. And then kudos to our training staff and nutrition staff and strength and conditioning staff for the way that they have prepared our guys for a season.
Yes.
So there you go. Again, we knew about those 2 guys up front. Gage Larverdin has been a little banged up, and yet there's still a high expectation for him. They like what he can bring coming out of the MAC. I suppose that might be the only guy to really keep an eye on tomorrow to see how early, how often. Beyond that, I don't know that there's anything to be overly concerned about.
No, I think Gage too, like that. What makes it really interesting, and one of the reasons I wanted to be as healthy as possible for this game is not because you're going to rely on him a little bit, right? Like you're going to rely on him this year. He's the one guy that you brought in that almost had a perfect 50-50 split in percentages of where he lined up in the slot and the outside. So in terms of versatility, he's supposed to be your most versatile receiver. I'm very curious to see how he is used in this game. There's a lot of curiosity to see what the confidence and cohesion is going to be, but also on the offensive side of the ball, how are they going to look? What are the looks you're going to be able to give? And if Gage Larverdin's not fully healthy, then you might not be able to see that to the degree I think we'd want to see how this offense looks in terms of style of play.
Terry, cut 8 on our list, please, sir. This is a little bit longer, but this is, I think you need to hear this, Gamecock fans. This is Shane going in depth on what he wants to see and what he feels about the guys up front on offense.
Well, first of all, thanks for saying that about that article. The State did a great job. Peyton Titus wrote that article, and I thought she did an amazing job. My wife and I both got a little emotional reading that one, but it was pretty cool. A lot of great memories as well, and pretty cool to be able to include my son on stuff like that now. Dang, Hampton.
Get him, Hampton. Get him.
They did a great job, though,
Yes.
as well. My wife just texted me, and she said she loves you, Hampton. So I just got a text from her literally as I was saying that. She's listening on the radio right now from a tennis match that she's at with our daughter tonight as well. But appreciate you saying that, like I said. And then offensive line-wise, it's a lot of things. One, it's an older group. I was reading Steve Fink's game notes this week and found out that our offensive line, of all the offensive lines in the country, has the sixth most number of career starts. So they've got the sixth most number of starts of any offensive line in the country, which I didn't realize, which when you have experience, that helps. We're older. We haven't lost anybody in the offensive line except Nick Gargiulo from last year. So we return everyone. You've got older guys like Rashawn Lee, older guys that have played at other schools. We've got some talented freshmen that were here last year, talented freshmen that are here now as well, and everyone's just a year older. And I liked our offensive line last year. We just couldn't stay healthy. And when you have 9 different starting lineup combinations in 9 games, that's tough on the offensive line because those guys got to work together and make calls and all be on the same page as well. So we've got to be able to stay healthy. But it's a group, Hampton. I got asked a question about social media a little bit ago. That's a group that's heard what's been said about them for the last year, very much so, and has a chip on their shoulder, and they've worked and practiced that way and trained that way ever since January, and know they're better than what they showed last year. And it's not just the offensive line; the whole offense has got to be better around our offensive line. But that's what I'm excited about: the experience, the talent, and everyone's a year older and excited to get going.
Says a lot.
Good stuff from Shane Beamer there. And yeah, that was a nice article that Peyton did the other day about how they incorporate Hunter into everything. That was kind of cool. And that's our boy Hampton. They were talking about. Hampton calls us a lot. So
he does.
Good stuff that you heard in there.
He got a lot of good stuff out of Shane.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes, he did.
Thank you, Hampton, for that. Yeah.
By the way, let me say Mike is here. Mike is he's our winner of our final pair of tickets. So again, thank you to Mr. Jim and the crew at Carolina Honda Powerhouse for helping us out with that. So Mike is here to go to tomorrow's game. Looking forward to it. And Jeff is here now to give Mike his tickets.
Jeff, a.k.a. the Ticket Fairy.
That's right.
For today.
Jeff's got them ready to go. All right, we'll come back on the other side of the break and get you some more from Coach Beamer. And again, coming up in about 15 minutes or so, the first edition of the Wild Card Showdown of the 2024 Carolina and college football season. You are listening to the postgame show live from Columbia Craft. That's another hot one here, Midlands and South Carolina residents. And if you are in need of some relief inside, you need to call my good friends at AAA Heating and Air. Maybe it's a quick repair. Maybe you've got a system that's just, not quite doing what you need it to do. 803-677-1500. They'll get out there quick. My guy Ray helped us out at our house about a month ago when we had a little issue. Or maybe it's just time for something brand new. Roy and Dana Finley and the crew at AAA have an amazing opportunity for you. 12 months, no payments or interest. You heard me right. You buy in 2024, you don't have to pay until 1 year from the day you buy. You heard me right. Plus, a 15-year parts and labor guarantee, $1,500 system buyback rebate, and they're guaranteed to get you financed. I mean, it's just a great time to do it. Instant quote at call AAAtoday.com, or again, call them up and learn more at 803-677-1500. Stay cool with AAA Heating and Air.
It's been great. It feels like we've been getting ready for them forever. Yeah. But no, it's been a really good week. This group has been who I've said they've been. They've been that since January. This group that we're coaching. I mean, they're all business. They handle their business. They work hard. There's not issues off the field. They're just a really fun group to coach and be around day in, day out. And excited to finally get to let them play against somebody else on Saturday.
Yeah, I think we all are, Coach. Welcome back in. That's Shane Beamer from Carolina Calls last night alongside Elijah Campbell. I'm Jay Phillips. Jeff is here. Haley is here. Again, congrats to our guy Mike, who said he's a long-suffering Cubs fan.
But he got to see them win a World Series.
After he heard me complaining about the Braves losing last night. So Elijah doesn't like it when I complain about the Braves.
I see. It's easy to make fun of you and pick on you complaining about the Braves,
well,
because the Braves' problems are like upper class baseball problems.
I don't live and die with any one game per se, but again, last night was just you're up 4-0 in Philadelphia and you lose 5-4, you need to win the game.
It's a bummer, but it's also like hearing Jeff Bezos complain about having to fly coach. Like, yeah, I'm sure it's inconvenient for you, but the rest of us, would love just to be on a flight to travel somewhere.
It's yeah. Well, don't worry, dude. To Bezos, flying coach means he's in, like the small Learjet.
Emirates.
You're right.
That's expensive.
Yeah, that's right. That's expensive.
Where the horses fly. For the
That's right, man. I love that line. God, that was good. Emirates?
That's expensive.
Snoop, man. He was awesome. He was, and this year, you see, he made like $500,000 a day.
No, I did not.
It was
see
something
that.
crazy like that. He was generating like $500,000 a day, basically, for being at the Olympics.
Money making machine.
He is.
I
man.
love that guy.
He is.
I love that guy.
That's crazy. Some more from Coach Beamer. I tell you what, Terry Ford, if you don't mind, please, sir, cut 10. We just heard a little bit about how the team was preparing for Old Dominion. Here's a little bit more from Shane Beamer on what Old Dominion presents tomorrow afternoon.
Challenge. It's today's time in college football. This, like game ones are so unpredictable because there's so much new scheme you used to have to get ready for. You don't know what changes a team is going to make from one season to the next. Well, now you've got to prepare for potential new schemes. They've got a couple new coaches on their offensive staff. But then there's the element of their whole rosters turned over in a lot of ways. This was a good team last year that went to a bowl game, and they lost. They had 5 losses last year by 6 points or less. So they easily could have been on a 10-11 win team last season. So they had a good team last year. They brought in a bunch of new transfers. So it's trying to figure out who they are, where they came
two
from.
top running backs. So they've got new guys coming in that role.
Got a good quarterback returning, an All-American linebacker returning as well. So they've got good players, but it makes it tough from a preparation standpoint because all you can do is kind of project because there is no you're not a high school team and you get to see the video of the opponent's scrimmage or a preseason NFL game where you get to watch the preseason game and see what guys are doing and where they're lined up. You truly don't know. So we've talked to our players about it, Todd. Like one of the keys for us Saturday is how well we handle the adjustments that we have to make, offense, defense, and special teams to new personnel and then the unexpected, whether it might be a scheme or whatnot.
When you hear what he's talking about there and not having an opportunity to look, we talked about the fact that this offense is built and modeled after what Josh Heupel's doing in Knoxville, but you really can't. I guess you can look at that to some degree, not so much your own film against Tennessee, but just some general things that you could take from Tennessee. So there is maybe that element to allow this team to have, I don't want to say a level of confidence about what they face, but at least it won't be a complete unknown. But what he said there may go to the point you made a little bit earlier, Elijah, that we might expect this game to start just a little bit slower than you would like because you got to just feel it out.
Yeah, definitely. And while you might not be able to replicate the exact talent that Old Dominion has, or maybe some certain things that their players do well that you're not going to have on tape because they do, at the group of 5 level, there is so much roster turnover. There is so much, or I guess so much of a lack of continuity year in, year out. I mean, they only have 6 returning starters on offense, so there are some pieces that are going to be different for Old Dominion this year, so you won't be able to catch that on tape, but they play fast. You can prepare for that. You can get a scout team to play a bunch of plays really, really fast and get your defense conditioned to be able to do it. Maybe preparing for specific personnel might be tough, but I think they're going to have just a slow start, mostly on offense. I think defensively, Old Dominion might be able to move the ball a little bit, but I think once that field gets a little bit shorter, if they do get into the South Carolina 35, I think they're going to have a hard time converting those into points, especially with how they were very turnover prone last year.
Right.
They lost a lot of 1-score games, and they would have won a lot of those 1-score games if they didn't have so many turnovers. They turned the ball over a lot last year, and then the quarterback in particular did throw a lot of interceptions early. So if you are able to at least bend maybe but not break, because there will be some struggle early, then I really like your chances to still hold them to 13 points, which is kind of what I expect.
A little bit more from Shane Beamer from last night's Carolina Calls. Cut 1 on our list, please, Terry. This is Shane with an overview of what he's expecting from the South Carolina offense.
Night before home games, and we don't take everyone. We take the guys that primarily are going to have a role on Saturday. And of the 80 players I think we're taking to the hotel tomorrow night, meaning they're going to play on Saturday most likely. I think it's 32 of them have never been in a Gamecock uniform before. Wow. And 11 of those are true freshmen that we expect to play on Saturday. So there's a lot of new faces. But to answer your question specifically in regards to the offense, it's still a work in progress. And I think we're going to look different in week 4 and week 6 and week 7 than we do week 1. Not that we're not good now, because I really like where we are right now. But, we've got 2 of our top receivers, 3 if you count Nick Harbor, because he didn't go through spring practice, that weren't even here in the spring, in Vandravius Jacobs and Dale Von Campbell. They transferred after spring practice. We've got a lot of new receivers, obviously. Our offensive line I'm excited about. The quarterback gives us a chance to do some different things. And Rocket Sanders, and my mom, was the best running back in the SEC 2 years ago in 2022. And he's back healthy and close to 100%. So excited to watch him run the football along with our other running backs. And we've got more depth on offense than we did last year. There's no question about it. Now, the key for us is just going to be how quickly we can come together and be clicking.
And before we comment any further on that, Terry, if you would, because he mentioned it there at the end, please, cut number 6 on our list. This is Shane talking more about Rocket Sanders and the guys with him at running back. I'm
really excited about Rocket. We saw him up close and personal 2 years ago when we were out at Arkansas. I know what a great player he is. I didn't know until he got here, Todd, what a pro he is, what a great person he is, his work ethic. He's unbelievable and has put a lot of time into getting ready for the season. He looks great, and I think he's poised for a big year. As you mentioned a minute ago, we're better on the offensive line, having him in the backfield, not just from a run game standpoint, but intelligence and experience and pass protection and running routes and catching the ball out of the backfield. He really can do it all. So I'm excited for all of our Gamecock fans to see him on Saturday. And then I'm really fired up about the whole group in general. We brought in a couple transfers, and Oscar Attaway and Jawarn Howe. Matthew Fuller is a true freshman that we're excited about. DJ Braswell was a freshman last year that has played in games. Juju McDowell's back and is in good health. So
Juju's got a lot of big roles too.
He does.
Return game.
He's doing a lot in the return game, and Juju's just a really good football player, and he's very smart. You can do everything with him, and he's a guy that's played a lot of football for us and brings great energy to our football team.
So there you go. A couple of things from Coach Shane Beamer about what this offense is going to look like. New. Again, 32 guys that he said are going to be in the hotel of the 80 have not been a Gamecock. A third of those guys are true freshmen, so they haven't done anything yet in college. It's just, there's, again, anxious, curious, intrigue,
mystery.
There's just a lot of that tomorrow, man.
So much of it. And this is why and there's a lot of things I'll be looking for, right? Because we're watching this entire game. But what are the scripted plays going to look like? Okay, I don't know how many of them are going to be, but pay attention to what type of stuff is getting called on the first drive of the game. To me, that might tell me, maybe get a glimpse into a window of how this team feels like their best strength is. You want to start on your best foot. And if they just go ahead and they line up against ODU and we're seeing run, power run, counter, then they probably feel really good about what the run game's going to be. The last thing you want to do is go 3 and out on your first possession of the game against Old Dominion and giving them on the other side of the field any type of belief that they can beat you, because belief is a hell of a drug. But I think you will see early on with the scripted plays that no matter how many of them there are, the first few plays of this game might just give you that perfect idea, or at least a little bit of an idea, of what this team thinks they're going to be able to do really well.
All right, I tell you what, not right now, but you and I, in the final segment of the show, after we do the showdown, we're going to do our first play guess.
Oh, I love it. Yes. I love guessing first play.
And we'll get Ford to give us his first play guess as well. All right. In the meantime, we need 2 of you right now. 803-404-6100. 803-404-6100. 2 of you. It's time to play the first wild card showdown of the college football season. O'Hara's gift certificate up for grabs. Call us up, 803-404-6100. We'll play on the other side of the break. It's the postgame show. Let me tell you about our friends at the Joint Chiropractic. 4 easy-to-get-to locations around the Midlands. Harbison Boulevard, Forest Drive, Roberts Branch, right off Killian Road, and Sunset Boulevard in Lexington. Local owners Janet and Bob Keene. I've met them. They're great people. They've been here a long time. They're really involved in the local community, and they really want you to know that there's nothing to be worried about when you visit the Joint Chiropractic. An initial visit, if you're just, curious, what's going on here? What's it all about? A consultation, an exam, and an adjustment. Your first visit, just $29. No appointment is ever necessary. All right. They're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 7, Saturdays, 10 to 4. So, again, never need an appointment. Don't have to miss lunch. No insurance involved here. Their goal is simply to improve the overall health of their patients with affordable, convenient chiropractic care. That's it. You don't have to feel bad to feel better at the Joint.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell. A few accidents to get to that are causing some issues on the roadways this afternoon. We'll start on the highways here, starting on 20 eastbound. We have 2 separate accidents, one on Monticello Road near exit 68, and another Fairfield Road near exit 70. Both of those are causing mild traffic backup. Taking it to I-26 eastbound over at Columbia Avenue near exit 91. They were down to 1 lane earlier today, but traffic still there. Just not as bad as it was maybe about an hour or so ago. North Main Street near Lorick Avenue, we have an accident causing some slight traffic backup as well as more on Spear Creek Church Road at Wood Creek Farms Road and on US 378 at Lower Richland Boulevard.
Hey, Terry, you don't happen to see the All right, welcome back into the postgame show. 5:34 on this Friday afternoon. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell with you. Terry Ford at Master Control. Haley is down here making sure we do it right. And a big crowd at Columbia Craft.
Yeah, it's growing.
That's right. All right. I think Ford is trying to cue the band. Let's see if he can. Did you find him, sir? We'll find out here. There it is.
Aha.
I knew he'd do it.
I knew who the band was.
That's right.
We're all tight with the band.
And now we'll bring John and Randy on board. Is that correct? John and Randy.
That's
right.
right.
We're ready to play the wild card showdown here, kids. John, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks, bud.
You bet. Good to have you. Randy, what's up?
Ready to win.
All right. There you go,
sir.
guys.
I love
all
the
right.
optimism.
Well, we got a $50 O'Hara's gift certificate up for grabs. Now, we have a Monday night game, so it'll be a little bit before we know who wins. But John, Randy, obviously you got to beat the other guy. Then you beat Elijah and me, you win that gift certificate. That's how easy it is. Last year, Elijah and I were each just one game over 500 in making our picks. So not a great year, not horrible, although we would probably not make a lot of money in Vegas.
Statistically speaking, if you get 3 of these 5, then you are in good shape.
That's the way to do it. All right, John, I am going to start with you. Here's what we can do, guys, just to let you know. If you haven't ever played before, we play 4 games together against the spread. We've got a wild card game for each of you, and then we have a tiebreaker stat just to make sure, if anything that goes wrong here, we have a tiebreaker. All right, John, we got the Georgia-Clemson game. As we speak, neutral field, of course, over at the Dome. Georgia is an 11.5-point favorite. What do you think, John?
I'll take Georgia.
Georgia to cover the spread. Randy?
Georgia to cover the spread.
Georgia to cover the spread. That takes me to Elijah Campbell.
Ooh, at 11.5, it did change from the 13.5 earlier. You know what? I will zig while you guys are zagging. Give me Clemson to cover.
Clemson to cover, says Elijah. The dip in points made me feel that much better about it, to be honest with you. I don't know why. I think it'd be like a 13-point game, but I'll take Georgia to cover the spread. All right, guys, to the Miami at Florida game. The Hurricanes are 2.5-point favorites in the Swamp. Randy, I'll let you go first. Miami minus 2.5. Miami, says Randy. John.
I'll take Florida.
Florida, says John. I, too, John, have the Gators. Again, I'm not trying to talk it into existence or anything like that. If Florida doesn't win, man, if I'm Billy Napier,
You're in trouble.
I'm just running towards Disney World as fast as I can at that point.
I'll go and start looking on
a lot of pressure.
Sites.
A lot of pressure. Who you got?
I'll take Florida as well. I think they're better than some of us would give them credit for. And there's still some question marks about Miami and some continuity. So I'll take Florida, the more desperate team.
There you go. All right. Elijah, I'll let you start on this one. Tomorrow night, we've got Penn State visiting West by God, Virginia.
Out Mama.
Penn State is an 8-point favorite on the road in Morgantown.
Not only will West Virginia cover the spread, they're going to win outright.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, James Franklin's going to go into a hostile environment. He's not really good at winning on the road against good teams. West Virginia is a really good team that's not ranked, and they can run the ball really well. Garrett Green's played a lot of football as a quarterback in college football. I like them to ride that momentum.
I will also take West Virginia, but just to cover the spread, I think Penn State, as Lee Corso would say, wins it very close.
By a hair.
I think Penn State probably pulls out about a 3-point win on the road. John, what do you think? Penn State -8 at West Virginia.
I'm with Elijah on this one. I think West Virginia beats them outright for sure.
All right, there we go.
It
All
spreads.
right. West Virginia, that's 3 for 3, at least in covering the spread. So that leaves you, Randy.
Yes, I'm gonna make it unanimous.
All right, West Virginia. 8 points at home. That's
a lot.
That's nice.
Home dogs bark the loudest, baby.
That's nice. That's nice. All right, guys. Also tomorrow night in College Station, A&M, a 3-point favorite over Notre Dame. Randy, we'll let you go first. What do you think?
Unfortunately, I like Notre Dame.
Well, that's okay.
Reluctantly. He is reluctantly taking Notre Dame.
That's okay. That's okay. John?
Where is it played, Jay?
It's in College Station at Kyle Field.
I'll take A&M.
A&M to cover at home. All right. Watch Campbell.
I'll take Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame wins this one outright.
I need some faith restored in A&M and really, or just put in there to begin with.
You need some proof of concept of the Mike Elko experiment.
So until then, I too will take Notre Dame. All right, guys, wild card time. John, we'll start with you, and you get Oklahoma State, a 10-point favorite over South Dakota State, who I believe is the odds-on to win the FCS national title.
Reigning champs.
Oklahoma State, 10-point favorites over South Dakota State. John.
I'll take South Dakota on that one.
South Dakota State.
Sneaky fun upset
plus
pick right
the
there.
10. Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting.
Sneaky fun one.
All right, Randy, you get LSU, a 4.5-point favorite over Southern California. That's a neutral field in Vegas on Sunday night. LSU -4.5.
LSU. The SEC is always going to take the ACC.
to cover.
The
There
SEC
you go.
will always
Okay.
take the ACC.
All right. Let's see. Elijah Campbell gets Michigan, the reigning champion.
Ooh, that's the tough one.
21-point home favorites over Fresno State.
I'm going to take Michigan. I don't like taking 3 touchdown favorites for teams that have that much roster turnover. But, man, Michigan still dominates at the line of scrimmage. That defense is still going to be really good. I can't guarantee to myself that Fresno State breaks double digits. So I will hail to the victors.
Finally, I have the Florida State BC game. That's the Monday nighter. FSU, after the disappointing loss, big home favorites. Boston College has Bill O'Brien now, but I don't know. They were okay last year.
They have a fun quarterback. The Castellanos kid at quarterback is a high-risk, high-reward type player.
Now, knowing what he can do, watching the film, do they keep it close? That's the thing. Do they keep it close? And I'm going to say that they do not. I think Florida State has the extra motivation to really go in there and just
at home.
Yeah.
I would have picked the same one.
Yeah, I was struggling with that line. Okay, tiebreaker, guys. Back to the Florida-Miami game. I need the combined pass yards for Cam Ward and Graham Mertz. Cam Ward last year threw for just under 4,000 yards at Washington State before transferring. Mertz is better than people give him credit for, I think. He
highest completion percentage in the SEC last year.
Completes a lot of his passes. So combined pass yards for Ward and Mertz. John, I'll let you go first.
Boy, that's tough. Let's see. 420.
4-2-0. All right, Elijah.
I will go with 479. I think there's going to be a decent amount of passing yards from both for both teams here.
All right. Let's see. Randy, you go next.
485.
4.8.
I like it.
$1, Bob. I'm going to go a little bit above all of you guys, man. I'm going to go 505, so a little cushion.
Wow.
All right, John, Randy, good luck. We appreciate you listening, certainly. We appreciate you wanting to play. We'll let you know what happens after that FSU Boston College game. And let me remind you guys to stay on hold. Do not hang up after we take a break. so Terry can get some vital info. That way we know if you win how to get you a prize. So y'all sit tight right there. But John, Randy, thank you, boys.
Good
Appreciate
luck,
it.
fellas.
All right, Elijah and I will
You
come
bet.
back. We're going to guess the first play for Carolina's offense tomorrow. You guys be thinking about it as well. Let's see what we all think together. You're listening to the Friday Postgame Show. All right, welcome back. The final few minutes of the post-game show on what has been a very fun, very busy Football Friday. We are live at Columbia Craft down here. Hootie and the Blowfish getting ready to take the stage for night 2. Carolina football tomorrow. Reminder that Elijah and Justin will have the high school scoreboard show coming up for you in just a little bit right here on the Game in Columbia. And Terry Ford is working master control today. We've given him way more to do than he thought we would.
Yeah, I do feel bad for Terry. This is a.
I don't feel bad for him.
A little bit.
Have you ever met the guy?
A little bit.
Terry, pull your microphone up, please, sir. I mean, I don't like, giving too much direction here. Terry is, after all, the program director. But this is our show, so
keep that in mind, Punk.
Yes, he had to put up with
keep
us.
That in mind.
He's working for us for the next 4 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that's it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's right. So, all right. So we're gonna
because 5:55.
Because I can't have a live read, so I can't talk to you then. Sorry.
Darn. Conveniently.
Sorry.
Conveniently having a live read.
If you had just said after the show, then I could have made an appointment for you. But you were specific. All right, we're gonna let Terry go first here, but we're going to guess the first offensive play for South Carolina tomorrow. We've had time during the break. So, Terry Ford, the first thing that Dowell Loggins dials up tomorrow will be?
I wish it was play action to Rocket and a deep shot, but it won't be. It'll be just between the tackles, Rocket Sanders, very ho-hum first play. Rocket Sanders between the tackles.
Okay. All right, Rocket between the tackles. All right, Elijah Campbell.
I think Old Dominion thinks it's going to be Rocket between the tackles, which is why I think it's going to be a play-action bootleg rollout to the right. Josh Simon's your first target of the season.
Okay.
I hope you're right.
I kind of like that one. I guess I'm not maybe in between, but we're all thinking something similar. I think it's a toss sweep. I think they let Rocket do. I think they use that like 12 personnel. You got some guys lined up over there. And they just go power, toss sweep, and Raheem, run, young man, run like the wind.
Yeah.
So
I could totally see that.
That means it'll be a screen pass to Juju.
Double reverse.
or like a 70-yard out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that'd be fun. Double reverse to start the season.
But for all three of us here, as we bring Terry in for just a second here, I'm again. I don't know what the right word is. Intrigued, anxious, curious, all of those things. This feels like a new look offense. And it feels like something that Dowell has had more time to maneuver, develop, put his hands in and really mold it the way he wants to. Not that he couldn't do that with Spencer, but there were things that you knew what Spencer was about. Here, you're able to take Lenoris, take some new guys into the offense, have somebody that he knows well, like Rocket, blend.
Starting the season with a healthy offensive line, because, you lost Jalen Nichols in the spring last year. You didn't even start the year last year with a healthy offensive line. In case Henry goes down, 5 plays?
I think it was the fourth play, something like that.
So at that point, you had to scrap.
Right.
Like 60 to 70%, and that might even be a generous estimation of your playbook just to be able to get the ball out faster. And even then, it probably couldn't even play to Spencer Rattler's strengths. This will be a really good, sample to see what Dowell Loggins has as an offensive designer and play caller.
Yeah, and Terry, what intrigues you the most? I mean, whether it's a player.
Yeah, that was the road I was going to kind of go down, Jay, was the idea that Dowell Loggins told us at Birdies with Beamer that he couldn't run his offense last year. So, because the offensive line was so beat up, he had to keep, tight ends in the block and pass protection and backs in and all these other things. So, to Elijah's point, this is really makes me intrigued about Dowell Loggins and about the offense he's going to run with what you said, Jay. All these creative pieces with a dual threat quarterback and a real running back and all these different kind of wide receivers. So that's what I'm intrigued with.
Yeah, I'm just glad football is back. We have a lot to talk about. We'll have a lot, and we will be working Monday. I want to remind all of y'all we'll have a full reaction on Monday. So, those of you that are not working,
enjoy us.
Yeah, but still listen to us.
Absolutely,
we'll be here for you. But again, so many new things. I I don't know what to expect. I know what I'd like to see. I know how I'd like it to unfold and things like that. And again, cohesion and confidence. Cohesion and confidence. Y'all take those words and share it around the tailgate tomorrow. That's what, as much of that as we can see in one game when you're a 21-point home favorite is what Carolina needs to see.
Yeah.
Because again, a week from tomorrow is huge, and you need to feel good about yourself. I think you can. I think you will. But what does it really look like? That's what we find out.
All right, the one player
want
that
to be as
intrigues
comfortable
you
as
both.
possible.
Who's the one player that intrigues both of you?
Ooh.
Well, I mean, it's easy to say the quarterback or the top running back, but honestly, I think I want to see Josh Simon as the number one and what that does in this offense.
I like that.
Yeah.
I am a heavy believer in Josh Simon.
Yeah.
I'm going with Gage Larverdan because of his positional versatility. Again, mentioned it in the last hour. He's the only receiver you got in the transfer portal that was almost a perfect 50-50 split on snaps in the slot and on the perimeter. How you use him, I think, is going to be a nice window into what your offense is going to look like this year in the passing game.
Thanks to the great folks at Columbia Craft for having us out. Thanks to Langston Moore, to Jack Veltri. Great work from Terry Ford at the back, Jeff and Haley being out here. To all of you listening, happy Football Friday, y'all. Enjoy the weekend, and we will see you Monday.
We are so back.